organized from last week, most of it, right? Or did you delete it out?
Nope, I didn't delete anything.
I haven't changed anything.
Oh, is that? Because there wasn't any show last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't.
Right. Yeah.
It was pre-prepped.
Okay. Jared, are you talking about Lost Ark?
I'll talk about Lost Ark with you.
Okay. Oh, or you have something else?
I have something else.
Oh shit. I have something else too because we didn't talk last week, and I've got something to talk about.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll talk briefly about it, and I'll talk about Lost Ark.
There you go.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
We're in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game by Show podcast for February the 13th, 2022. It's Super Bowl Sunday, as well as Valentine's Day Eve, and we're here on Sunday bringing it live to you, streaming on at least YouTube. We're streaming.
At least.
And happy to be here. My name is LeGrand Jolly. This evening, Jeremy Lamont. Hello, Jeremy.
Hey, everybody. Hey, guys.
Dale Jones. Hello, Dale.
Good evening.
And Jared Dunn. Say hi, Jared.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey. Did y'all watch the football game?
No. I actually didn't even realize it was happening until like mid-afternoon.
I watched the hockey game in this
Really?
afternoon, and
The All-Star game or whatever?
No,
Was it the All-Star game?
That was a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
The Dallas Stars played and they got shut out.
You know what else I haven't been watching? And I know we were trying to get this done quickly, but I just want to say I have not been watching the corrupt Chinese Olympics. But I've heard some great things coming out of there. Have you guys seen the how they put that big air ski jump next to some like nuclear condenser? Yeah, it looks like this dystopian thing. So all the shots of everybody
that
up in the air.
That is a super desaturated picture that's been circulating.
There's a whole bunch of them though. Like I thought it was Photoshop Friday at first. I thought that
it's super desaturated. It's not that bad.
It looks fake, and
It
it
does
turns
look
out
fake.
it's totally real.
But it's not that. I mean, it's also fake, but it's also real. But it's also fake.
I heard China was cheating in
Just
some
like
events.
this show.
Yeah, China's always cheating.
There's been some shenanigans for sure. I've watched a little bit of the Olympics. I don't know. I watched some snowboarding.
Oh, you know what? I did watch.
That's basically it.
I watched the greatest YouTube events in curling. Curling, I saw.
Okay.
And, let me give you want a summary of like the greatest curling event? Like someone like skates a rock down, and a whole bunch of like a couple guys like brush in front of it, and it bumps some things.
Dude.
And it's like, wow!
It's like shuffleboard on ice.
Does it really bump things? I thought it was just supposed to like get in a target range.
No,
yeah,
you knock
but
it
it's like
so you can knock them out of the
shuffleboard.
way.
You can like hit the other stones out of the way.
Okay. Or bocce.
Yeah, bocce. Yeah, exactly.
What was it? My son found some quote on Twitter or something on the internet that was like a bunch of dudes went to get away for the weekend, ended up going to the Olympics, and it's like a bunch of normal looking dudes that. How are these guys athletes? You know, like
yeah.
It's like you know,
like
there's certain games, you know, like sports that don't require like
baseball.
Baseball is one of those. Well, I don't know, but not current gen baseball.
No, you got to get a chaw cheek if you want to play baseball.
Bowling, however, is a game that doesn't necessarily require
darts,
anything but a good arm, right? Darts, darts. Okay, got you. It's just it's hard to like square those dudes up against like a peak athlete of the Olympics and esports. Yeah. Except for those dudes train hard inside and outside of the computer game.
Did you know that the U.S. Army has an esports team, and one of the games that they play is actually tabletop Warhammer 40K?
What?
Yeah.
They're really good at determining line of sight.
Tabletop 40K.
They're really good at special tactics.
Yeah.
Special tactics.
Can you imagine like those guys meet in like the cafeteria or something, and like the Navy SEALs walk by? And they're like, you know, I don't know.
This is how the Army has developed the technology to just will things into existence, right? They just think about something working and it works.
Some guys like, I've got a great idea to keep our military at peak readiness. Giant shoulder pads.
At least we know why the F-35 costs so much now, because it's made by Games Workshop.
That's right.
They painted it. They got some good photos though.
Oh man,
nice. I like where this is going.
What a weird intro.
It's been great. It's been
video
great.
games.
I have some 40K to talk about tonight, actually. Let me jump right in with one of the things that I've been playing, and this is actually not the main thing. I'll just note it because in the past I've talked about this turn-based strategy Warhammer 40K game, Armageddon. I finally finished that. I actually finished the campaign. It's got like, I don't know, 30-some missions or something. And I knocked out the last 4 or 5 of them over the last few days. And it was basically the culmination of the, I think it's technically the second war for Armageddon in the 40K lore, where the mad war boss Ghazghkull Thraka is defeated by the heroic and glorious Commissar Yarrick of the Imperial Guard with assorted chapters of Space Marines and Titan legions.
Isn't Yarrick the one that has the war boss's claw, like as his hand?
He does. Yeah, because he was fighting. He was fighting some orcs another time and lost his hand, and he took one of their power claw arms.
Yeah,
he's also got the Bale Eye, which is like an augmetic implant in one of his eyes that like can fire a laser, and that makes the orcs scared of him. Actually, so
I wish the Olympics were more like that. Like whatever you just described, I kind of wish. Yeah, that'd be. I'd watch.
So,
we have a conversation about the Olympics about letting dudes like juice out on steroids and watch those Olympics?
And just no.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like you don't like there are no regulations.
You know
no rules.
Let's just give children like some like bladed chains or something and just like send them in that. Well, let's watch that. I bet that's all right.
No, I mean same events, but allow steroids. Like
bladed chains is actually a really good segue to the other game.
Nice, good job, Dale's keeping it straight and narrow.
Okay, I like this. Okay, we're fine.
I don't know if you guys ever talked about the Shrouded Isle before. Have you guys played the Shrouded Isle?
I'm gonna look it up right now and type
quietly.
Makes me
think of Shroud of the Avatar.
So the Shrouded Isle, it's a it's a sort of like text-based, but it's a management game. And what's happened is
it's a Game Boy game.
No, I mean it kind of looks like that because it's very monochromatic,
awesome.
Right? But no, it's an indie PC game, and you are the like leader of a sacrificial cult on a little island, and it's not really explicit, but it's probably like taking place in about like the 1600s or something like that, and they're sacrificing, members of the community to the god Chernobog. You familiar with Chernobog?
Oh yeah, he's the god of like filled pastries. I'm pretty sure. Is that Chern? Maybe it's a different Chernobog.
Chernobog.
Different Chernobog.
I was trying to think of a pun about pastries and gods, and I couldn't.
But apparently it's a real god of Slovakian myth, I think, or something like that.
Oh. Is he the one who spanks children until they bleed on Christmas or something? I remember there's one of those.
Krampus? That's Krampus.
Oh, is that okay?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a different Krampus.
I thought it was a made up like Cthulhu mythos sort of thing.
It sounds it sounds like something from like Eternal Darkness or something.
But no, come to find out, it's actually a real thing. So anyway, what this game is like 500 years ago, there was a prophecy that 5 years from now, I guess I should say 495 years ago, there was a prophecy that 5 years from now, the world is going to come to an end, and you have to prep the village for over the next 5 years for the advent of Chernobog is going to come back. And in order to prep the village, you have to purge it of its sinners, right? Not only that, but you have to live a pious life. And so accordingly, you appoint 5 advisors each season from the houses around the village, the houses of the people who live there, like the families, I should say. And there are 5 families, and each one is sort of in charge of maintaining one of the key, let's call them virtues, that Chernobog requires of the citizenship, right? And so those are ignorance. Ignorance is a virtue. You don't want people learning too much about the outside world. Another one is fervor. So you want to keep them, fervently worshiping. Let's see. The third one is discipline. And that speaks for itself. The fourth one is penitence. You want to make sure they're repentant. And then the fifth one, what was the fifth one?
Cool.
I don't know. I forget. But there's a fifth one. And so each of the families is in charge of one of these 5, right? And so what you're made to do is to kind of
obedience.
Obedience. You're right. Obedience is that one. the main threat to your sort of rule as the head priest, or I'm not sure what the actual title is, but the main threat is basically the fact that you will either fall below your quota of each of those virtues, or you will mismanage your reputation with the 5 families. And if either of those things happens and you end a season in the red zone for either reputation of one of the 5 families or one of the 5 virtues is lacking, the game will end, right? And so to that end, what you're trying to do is each season you appoint one member of each of the 5 families, which the structure and the makeup of the families is randomly determined each game. They can be anywhere from like 4 members to probably like 10 in each family. And each of the members of a family has a secret virtue and a secret vice, right? And at the beginning of the game, all that you know about some of the villagers is like what their rumored virtue or vice is. And so what you really need to do is first you need to appoint one person each season from each family to be an advisor, right? And then when you start the season with your advisors, each month, so you get 3 months in a season, you will choose 1, 2, 3 of the 5 advisors to take an action. And the action that they take depends on what their house is in charge of, right? So like the guys in charge of obedience, I forget what the action they do is, but they go around trying to stoke obedience, right? However, their hidden virtue and vice will make them either more or less effective at doing so, and in the process, it'll also affect those other stats, right? Because here's the thing, their virtue and vice affects one of the 5 stats, but it's probably not the stat that they're in charge of actually doing their job as, right? Mm-hmm. So like if their job is to go around and stoke obedience, they might have like a profile where they're like plus ignorance, but they have a virtue of more ignorance, but they have a vice of less fervor or whatever. And so each time you choose one person to be an advisor, it's a boon to their reputation, your reputation with that house, but it's a minus to the other 4. Or if you choose up to 3 advisors, the hit to your reputation, the gain of reputation of each goes up a lesser amount because it's now distributed over 3. You know what I'm saying? And then the other 2 guys dislike you, right?
So is it like a logic puzzle game sort of?
It's that, but it's a management. It's like you're managing the like politics of everything by like trying to evenly take advice from each of the families so that you kind of maintain a level reputation with each of them. But you're also balancing that against what you know that they're good and bad at. So like every time you choose one advisor for a month, you get like a little report of how they did. And then you have an opportunity to sort of interrogate them a little bit. And then what that'll do is it'll allow you to get one step closer to knowing the true nature of their virtue or of their vice, right? So like initially it'll just be like question marks, like you don't have any idea what the virtue is. And if you interrogate them one time, it'll tell you, well, this person is like plus to ignorance, right? But it doesn't tell you how much is the plus to ignorance. If you interrogate them again on that subject, you might uncover the fact that they are, closed-minded, and that'll be like a plus 10 to ignorance. Or you could uncover the fact that they are scholarly, and that's a minus 30 to ignorance. And being scholarly is actually a major sin. And so at the end of each season, you have to sacrifice one of the villagers, and that villager has to always be from one of your 5 advisors, right? So what you want to do is know all their virtues and vices, because that'll sort of give you you can evaluate like, well, this person has a really bad vice, but they also have a really good virtue, right? And so you're kind of like trying to figure out on the balance, do I want them or do I not?
What a weird game with a weird setting, it seems.
Super weird sounding.
And then so when you sacrifice one of the villagers, if they're like a major sinner, like, say they are, lazy, right? That's like a pretty bad sin, right? And so when you sacrifice them, that'll like encourage all the rest of the villagers to not be lazy, and so that stat goes up, right? That parameter goes up.
But do you sacrifice? Do you have to indicate why? Do you say like, oh, this guy's lazy, so therefore?
They take it for granted. It's like it's taken to be because of their vice is why they're sacrificed.
And it will be revealed when you sacrifice them, or
no? So you need to interrogate them in the process before you sacrifice them, because if you sacrifice somebody who you don't know what their vice actually is, their house will be like, well, you didn't know what the vice was. It could have been something that we could have that wasn't that bad. That we could have dealt with, right? So what you're trying to do is you're trying to pin down.
What if their vice was Warhammer?
Dude.
Then that would be.
What if their vice was they had like the color red on them? You know what I mean? Like it's not just green.
Yeah, that would probably be.
That's a saucy color.
Unrepentant.
You have to go look at the game.
But here's the other thing: you can't 2 seasons in a row. If you sacrifice from the same house 2 seasons in a row, they're going to hate you, and that's like minus 100 reputation. And so then you're really going to be like in a bad place. You'll have to listen to that advisor 3 times in a row in the next season, and who knows what havoc that'll play on the rest.
This game on phones should be on phones.
I don't know. I don't think interface ways. I don't think it'd be good on a phone. iPad maybe. It works really well on the mouse and keyboard. The one. I will say I had a really good time getting into this, and I thought it was very cool. I will say that the nature of it being like a lot of it is determined by the random number generator at the beginning. You may sometimes end up with unwinnable scenarios, I think, unless you. There's also random numbers involved in, I think, each action that you do. So like, it's not a solved game by any means. It's like there's some measure of luck as to whether you'll be able to finish a run or not. I did finish a couple of runs, but they both ended with a bad ending, is basically because I got through the allotted time, but I did so without having sacrificed all the like major sinners. And so I got like a less than ideal ending.
So where's the chain blade connection? I guess I got to ask.
Oh, so there are these random events that will happen. Right. And so every now and then, one of the people from the House of Penitence will come and ask for basically ask for permission to kind of like investigate new technology of like weaving shards of glass into their flail whips, so that to better stoke penitence. So
nice.
And if you let them do that, you'll get like one parameter will get buffed. If you don't let them do that, I think your ignorance gets buffed, because best stick to the old ways is kind of like what it says. Right?
Nobody's afraid of limp chain blades.
Yeah, so
it's true.
It's a pretty cool game. I'd say check it out. It's got a really good art style. It's like all very Edward Gorey, like sort of. He's an artist. It's like his style of very like sort of dark, macabre stuff. And it's got really good music too. So
nice.
Yeah, check it out.
It says that
Shrouded Isle.
When it goes on sale on Steam, it's only $2. That might be
I bought it on sale over the winter break. So
okay, yeah, it looks kind of neat, but I don't know if I would. I don't know how much time I would spend with it. It's like it's $10 normal, but man, Steam sales are happening like every other week right now.
Yeah,
it seems. So yeah, might be a good $2 pickup. I think.
Check it out.
I spent worse money.
Like a good one.
When Chernobog returns, there will be a Steam sale specifically for that. I'm sure.
Is it as good as Vampire Survivors for $3? That's the real question. Can I get like 30 hours out of Shrouded Isle? I don't know.
You might. I've got probably 8 or 9 hours out of it so far.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Whoa.
I've played way too much Vampire Survivors.
9 hours. Yeah, 9 hours. I got a bunch of achievements. I got Extinction, where I completely wiped out an entire house. I got Detective, where I discovered every single vice and virtue in the village. I got Sunken. Oh, here's another thing. This is another mechanic I forgot to mention. After a couple of seasons, you open up what do they call it? The tower, right? So obviously this is the Shrouded Isle, so like it's a little community on the coast, right? You can put citizens in these cages and then like dunk them in the sea and like leave them for like days at a time. And then what that'll do is you'll come back, and every once in a while they will have drowned. But usually what happens is you'll uncover, one of their virtues or vices. Sometimes what happens is they will become awoken.
Whoa.
And that means that they are like, the chosen of Chernobog now. And don't sacrifice an awoken, because that'll really mess up your whole thing.
Have you gotten to the point where Chernobog returns? What does he think of all this?
Yeah.
He's all right with it? He's cool.
He's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
But, this wasn't what I meant at all.
You're supposed to make pastries.
I didn't hear from Chernobog directly. You hear from Chernobog in your dream. So for a little while, I thought this is what I thought the game was doing, right? Every season, at the beginning of the season, you have a dream, and Chernobog comes in the dream, right? And he says he picks out one of the sinners. He's like, you got to give me the gluttonous one this time. And he'll also tell you this season you need to encourage ignorance or whatever. So he gives you like a little bit of kind of goals, and then he'll also drop a hint as to like who the scholar is. Like, give her to me. So you're like, okay, well, the scholar's a woman. Okay, I didn't know that.
Chernobog is very task based. I like.
But
all hail Chernobog,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I thought was going on, and it I think undermines this. Is like I thought that like it was actually going to turn out that like all this was just like in your head, and the real game would be to ignore the wishes of Chernobog, which are sort of capricious, and to focus exclusively on the like management of the community reputation stuff. Because when I started playing that way, after like having a few games end really early because I was messing things up, when I started to ignore what Chernobog wanted, I started actually doing better, right? So my hope was that I would get to the end of this game and there would never have been any Chernobog.
Oh no, those Lovecraftian elder gods, they're always real. You can't.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, anyway,
fun. That's fun.
Cool game.
Sounds cool. Actually, it does. I'm actually interested in it.
It sounds really trippy, honestly.
Yeah,
it is. It's got a trippy art style and everything.
Well, I've got a couple quick things to talk about, and I'm going to steal Jared's thunder because take that. Briefly, since we didn't have a podcast last week, I got to talk about this game. So here's, I think I have a problem, and I think my problem is that I'm an MMO player, and in Final Fantasy, I'm waiting for the next patch to come out because I want to.
Right.
Play the story. I've kind of exhausted the content I'm willing to grind at the end of an MMO with that game, which happens with every MMO, by the way. Like World of Warcraft gets to the point where I'm done. Guild Wars, I just never get to the end game because F Guild Wars.
It's a good game.
Anyway, it's fine. So I've been hearing some whispering and wonderings, and I'm like, well, maybe I should check out Star Wars: The Old Republic. So I installed that business and. I played maybe, 15 hours of that over the last little while. And have you guys ever played Old Republic at all?
Not Old Republic, not.
Okay. Well, it's a game that I guess at this point is 10 years old. I think they just had their 10-year anniversary. So it's
about right.
And they have a new expansion coming out like this week, I believe. And they've had like maybe like 4 or 5 expansions, which are all the game is thrives on the story. It's an MMO that does not play like you would want an MMO to play. It doesn't play as well as any of the MMOs I just mentioned. Like WoW, Final Fantasy, Guild Wars, Age of Conan,
Outlands.
Outlands. Any of these MMOs, the actual minute-to-minute gameplay is not very good. Well, comparatively speaking, it's serviceable and fine for what it is. But where the strength lies in this game is the storytelling, being that you basically have 8 different classes, like the Sith Inquisitor, you have the smuggler, you have the bounty hunter, you have the Jedi Knight, you have 8 different classes that have these storylines. Space Marine, that have these really cool storylines, and that is like the game is like has like a meter on the side when you log and says you finished these storylines from these classes. So the game wants you to play, and the first the free to play 50 levels of this game is playing through the class storyline. And it's got that. This is a BioWare game. And by BioWare, I mean like 10 years ago BioWare, not like weird whack Anthem BioWare, but it's got like the light and dark mechanics from like Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect or whatever, right? And I'm playing this Sith Inquisitor, and she just straight murks dudes, and that's just part of the story that the game is. Like I'm not a hero in this game. It's just like I'm playing the storyline of a Sith Inquisitor, and I can choose to be good and do like light side things, and my light side meter will go up even as a Sith person. But if I go in and these guys are like, yo, these slaves are revolting, I can say, yeah, we better murder them.
Kill a few.
And then we go and murder the slaves. Like, those are like choices you can choose to make in this game. And it lets you do that. And you just lean more towards the dark side or the light side. And I think that is very interesting. Like in the case of like Mass Effect, like if you wanted to be a bad, like a renegade Mass Effect Shepard, like you were just a bad guy, but you were still the hero of the galaxy. And I don't know where this story's going, but I'm just a bad person that's trying to become a Sith, Inquisitor. And I'm doing whatever I can. I'm lying. I'm cheating. I'm killing off my competition. And I'm killing everyone just to become more powerful, because the game is like, you need to feed on your anger and your rage to become the more powerful Sith. And I'm like,
that's pretty good, because usually it's like,
that.
Well, maybe you can choose the gray path and get the ribbon.
Usually there's very black and white decisions, and there's a gray one in the middle, but there's a black and white decision that you can choose from. And I have molded this space bitch to be just murder everyone. And whenever someone talks to me, I'm like, ugh, are we done yet? Like, you are so weak. Whenever someone like starts to talk to me about like their inner feelings, like my response to them is, you are so weak. Like, what is your problem?
It's like talking to my teenage daughters.
It's so awesome. Anyway, so I'm really digging the story of it. And I subscribed thinking that I would get more out of it, but I think I might continue to kind of dabble along. I unsubscribed just earlier. I'm like, because Lost Ark came out and I've been playing a shit ton of that. But I think I might continue on kind of playing the storyline. So I just want to let everyone know, like, Star Wars, if you're looking for a pretty cool Star Wars thing that's not centered around, the trilogy or any of the Skywalker stuff, but set in that old Republic world, it's got callbacks back to the Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars: The Old Republic is actually pretty cool. And supposedly after the 50 levels, and there's all this like maybe 5 expansions after that I guess are also really well done. So I just want to let everyone know that game is still around and still pretty okay. And as an MMO addict, apparently, on the podcast, aside from Jared, who only plays old MMOs, I also played all old MMOs that are not as old. Okay,
and they're right. We've stratified our MMO.
Yeah. So
it's like a jar of bacon grease. Ooh, you guys are the worst.
So good.
That's right. Man. But the game I did want to piggyback off of with Jared, this is Jared and I's time to talk about the game that everyone is playing, apparently. Lost Ark, which currently I have like 8 people on my friends list on Steam playing this game, which never happens. They have now overtaken Counter-Strike and all these other big games on Steam to be the second most played game ever on Steam with concurrent players. So they're right behind PUBG, which will probably not be caught for a while. But Lost Ark came out this last week. It was in early access. It was in pre-access for people who bought a Founders Edition, which I believe Jared and I both did because we were both in there early.
Yep.
So this game actually came out about 2 years ago or more in Korea. It's a Korea-based action RPG. I think it was also in open beta in Russia, and it's been in a few other places over in like China maybe. Mm-hmm. But it finally has come into Latin America, North America, and Europe. Was what was released just barely. And so what that means, so this game is an action RPG MMO, but the gameplay is more action RPG, but you're playing with like on a server with thousands of people. And so the interesting thing about this game is how it just came to North America, but the game's been out for 2 years. Therefore, the game is extremely polished. It's very, very balanced, and the gameplay is freaking incredible. It's super addictive. And if you want to just click buttons and watch enemies blow up and get rad abilities, this game puts Diablo 3 is a great game, but visually this game stomps all over Diablo 3 all day long. It's just an incredible game to watch and play. And I've been having a damn good time with it.
It's like the MMO questing layer is kind of soft on it. You're like, it's kind of weird, but yeah, just like the sound design and like the weight of like, I'm a paladin, and he just like crushes things and like charges into battle, and the enemies just like explode in front of him. It
feels different than like in Diablo 3 is a great game, but when I like click like with my sorceress or whatever, the wizard class or whatever it is in Diablo 3, I can't even remember anymore.
Wizard.
When I click the button and I'm like, hey, I'm going to drop a spell, and like a little fireball comes out. When you drop a spell in freaking Lost Ark, like the entire screen fills up with meteor showers, and it's like this insane thing. But at the same time, it is all somehow completely manageable, and it takes a minute to kind of get your head wrapped around the combat, especially being like a Diablo 3 player as I am, to get your head wrapped around. But once you do, it is so incredibly satisfying to play Lost Ark. And what I have found is that I agree with you, Jared. Like stomping around the world is like it's cool because the environments are really very good looking. The enemy design I think is really well done. It looks really good. It doesn't look old. It looks like a new ARPG, which of course is. But I finally got into like the dungeons of the game where it actually opens up, and so there's like discrete dungeons like you would expect an MMO to have. Like you queue up, a party is formed, and you go into a dungeon
like matchmaking.
And the dungeons are very tightly designed. The boss encounters are super cool. There's amazing cinematic moments that happen in the dungeon, and the whole time you're running around it. And every class in this game is a sight to behold when they start just popping off abilities, which means that every class is like I've played 3 classes and they've all been like very, very fun to play. Like I can't choose. Like it's hard to choose which class to play because they're so very good. And it's not like I played an assassin class. I've played the sorceress, which is like your standard mage, and then I played the paladin, which Jared played as well.
Yeah,
and they all very fit like the paladin archetype. It feels like you got these big swords you're kind of whacking around, but you also have these holy abilities that you're kind of passing out.
My favorite is like the lightning bolt thing he does, and like the whole screen like dims, and then it like shoots out this really bright like fire stuff. It's so good. You're like, oh.
So is this like one of those Asian gacha style, like Genshin Impact? Like you're gonna.
It's got some mechanics like that. So
there's about 14
classes,
million extra mechanics bolted on. Is probably the weirdest thing about it. It's like Black Desert style. You hit the escape menu, and you're like, oh what's going on here?
And there's like things that I don't even understand. But the thing is the game does a really good job of like piecemealing every new little mechanic to you. Like there's a whole crafting system. I'm level 24 out of like a cap of 50, I believe, and I haven't even seen it.
There's entire
because they haven't even. And there's like a ship mechanic. There's a place where you like build like a castle stronghold. There's like all these other mechanics that I haven't even touched yet because the game is like very deliberately kind of here's now a new thing that you can do and kind of giving you these new things because I think that there's so much there that if they threw it all at you at once it would be very, very confusing.
Go right over you. Yeah, and as you like do things in the game, it's one of the things I actually kind of like, really like about it is has this like screen for like in a region, and there's all these different things. There's like bosses of all the different types of monsters that you can hunt down, and things you can find out in the wild and stuff. And as it like keeps it all on this one like. I forget what it's called, but this one screen.
The Adventure Tome, I think?
Yeah, the Tome. Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly. And it's like it like helps you kind of piece it together, and it actually makes it really nice because it seems like a type of game where you're going to end up kind of backtracking a little bit to like fill some of that out, but it gives you something. I feel like at some point you'd be like, I'm going to go
work on checklist of things to do.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to go search down and kill some bosses, right? And you just roam the maps and start trying to kill bosses.
Did you fight the world boss in that first area? Rudrick, whatever his name is?
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Wasn't that cool?
It was awesome.
It was like great. This big, huge guy, and it took like 30 of us to like bring him down. And everyone was just fighting. And then again, like everyone's skills are popping off, and you're just like mashed. You have like 8 abilities on your bar at any given moment. And it seems kind of overwhelming because in like a Diablo game and like in any ARPG I've played, they start you out with one ability. So the first rats you're running up to, you're just kind of clicking.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna fireball, firebolt, firebolt, or whatever. And in this game, they start you out with 6 abilities, and you have no idea what's going on. But eventually, slowly but surely, you figure it out. You figure out what works better. You start to upgrade those abilities, and they kind of like start to branch off and to different. You put skill points in the ones you can choose between these modifiers and things like that. And suddenly, you start to kind of build out this rotation of sorts of all these abilities, not unsimilar to an MMO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's a bunch, I'm going to do this and rush into them, and then I'm going to hit this, and it's going to do an area of effect, and then I'm going to, turn and hit these guys behind me with this thing. And at the end of the day,
dash
I hit
around
this
and-
like lightning ability because it like dims the screen and then gets real bright. It's awesome.
Those are the best. Yeah.
So good.
So anyway, it's a really, really good game. It's free to play, and there's a reason why everyone's playing it, because it is incredibly, like, if you played this game for an hour, you'd probably be hooked to some level if you are into ARPGs.
If you're
I
Here's
guess
my
that
thing.
is the only caveat.
It's like 70 gigabytes to download. I'm waiting for GeForce Now support.
It's only 70
Is it
gigabytes.
going to be on Game Pass?
I don't
It's
know.
free to play.
I hope so. I hope it gets on Game Pass.
Downloaded.
It's free to play.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why does it need to be on Game
xCloud.
Pass?
Is it going to be on xCloud?
Oh,
Yeah, I want
xCloud.
to stream it. I don't want to download
It does have controller support, so you can play with the controller, but I believe it's only on Steam right now.
So I was
Right.
actually playing it the other night in bed on my Surface, streaming from my desktop through the Steam family streaming thing or
Nice.
whatever. It worked really good. So that was
man.
Were you playing with the
Nice.
controller?
no, just my mouse and keyboard.
Oh, okay. I'm curious how the controller. It seems like the controller, since there are like 8 abilities, I believe it uses something similar to Final Fantasy 14, where you hold down a trigger and it.
It's
know,
like
opens up.
swaps. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway,
it's good.
give it a shot, man. It's a treat. Like, just watch some gameplay, and I think you'll know if it's for you. I think the free to play mechanics. Obviously, there's cosmetics and things like that. Your character,
Mhm.
unlike like Diablo, this takes Diablo 3 to like the next level with like character customization. There's you build a character like you would an MMO. You just like hair and facial
Yep.
features and makeup and tattoos and whatnot. And I'm almost thinking, and I'm wondering if Diablo 4 has to do something to make their ARPG better, and it's got to include some of these features. Like, there's just a lot of really cool things that it does. Like, the skill system is really good. You can the character customization is really well done, and the way that they handle dungeons, they're not nothing is procedurally generated in this game like a Diablo would be,
Yeah,
but it's all like very discreetly, tightly designed,
Mhm.
and the dungeons are like the highlight for me so far. Like, I've just ran dungeons over and over again, just trying to just play them and get more loot and things like that, because they're just fun, and it's fun running around with other players doing it. And
I did
It's,
come across a secret dungeon. I found like a map or something, and it gives you like a vague idea of where it's at, and then you have to go find it. And those seem kind of random. I don't know.
I've done
if
about 10 of those.
okay,
and
they're
they are
very small, but
Yeah,
they're just
it's like go kill.
little
It's
bonus
like
things.
go kill this boss,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah, it's like a small boss encounter. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is currently right now the top game, and has been since it came out on Steam. Peaked at 1.3 million concurrent players, and it's free to play, so everyone should try it if you like ARPGs, I suppose. If you don't like ARPGs, maybe not for you, but maybe check out some gameplay, because I know some people that are playing this game that I would not peg as ARPG players, and they are getting into it. And yeah, it's awesome. Lost Ark. I'll probably be talking about it, because it's like all I want to play right now. And quite honestly, like, that's what sucked me away from Star Wars: The Old Republic, is this game. And the storyline is whatever, super dumb, but the character progression and the mechanics and everything else in the game is just what's the highlight, in my opinion.
You press the G key to like advance like the dialogue. So I just get out of here. Let me move on. I don't care.
Everyone's kind of mashing through it. It's got some anime. It's some anime bullshit for sure in some places. And there's a cutscene where these two characters ran to each other and punched at the same time, and punched each other's fists, and a big explosion happened.
Wow.
They have a
Totally
class
anime.
that basically goes Super Saiyan, and they don't hide it. Like, you basically go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and you get more powerful. And it's basically the Goku like masterclass. The class
hair gets
design
longer.
is very cool. Yeah. And it's a fantastic game.
good
I'll
stuff.
be talking about it a lot. So sorry, not sorry, but it's going to be the game I talk about for a while.
Hey, I'll do mine real quick. Jared said he's been playing with the streaming setup. I've been doing the same thing on GeForce Now. Dying Light 2 Stay Human.
I'm surprised you picked this up.
Here's the thing. Above all the things I'm going to tell you, it has co-op multiplayer. So you can basically play with somebody. And so it was gifted to me, and we've been playing through it, and it's quite a lot of fun. Actually, Dying Light, the first, I think, was sort of overlooked. I think it was popular at the
I
time.
loved the first
I
Dying
don't
Light
think
game.
a lot of people think about Dying Light.
I got a
I
buddy
think
who's
about it.
really
I think
looking
about
forward
it.
to this.
That game
Yeah.
was awesome.
So let me just lay this out for you real quick. I'll keep it real brief. So Dying Light 2, mix up Mirror's Edge, okay, with like Left 4 Dead and like Fallout, right? Probably something like that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
you triangulate those. You get a really good parkour game with zombie, like sort of like the, what would you call it? Like Left 4 Dead style zombies, where like one mutates and has like a giant arm or something like that. You know, it's not like plain old zombies. It's like this one is like really here's a parkour zombie or whatever. You know, and then you find weapons. They're all destructible, but you can mod them with like electricity or fire. You scavenge components from everybody. You dialogue with people. You do quests, and you just run all over and do that like basically the whole time. And like I said, you have the ability to do drop in, drop out, 2-player co-op campaigns. So there's a campaign you can do. You have factions that you befriend or not. Everything has consequences, and basically everything is like gone to heck. And so you just go out there and parkour and jump on zombie heads and do like pro wrestling moves. Springboarding off of them and doing like a big double kick and stuff like that. And you have a stamina thing, so you level up your core abilities. You get new skills. I don't know. You just kind of do that. Looks really good. Dying Light the first was really good looking.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So the thing that stood out for me that I really, really liked about Dying Light 1 is that game seemed a little kind of grounded in reality a little bit. Like it was fairly serious. And I really enjoyed like when you went out at night in Dying Light 1, it was terrifying. I was scared to death. Yeah. And I remember being chased by zombies. And there was like the first time you go out at night and that one zombie chases you in Dying Light, I'll never forget that gameplay moment.
So this has all that.
This has all that too. So the nighttime is like scary as hell.
So so the thing is though, so the zombies don't like to come out in the light, and so the safe zones are like UV light and whatever. During the day, all the zombies are inside, so you never want to go indoors because that's where they're all just like hanging out. And the special missions are going to be like, you got to go in during the daytime, and no, don't let me go in during the daytime. But then sometimes it's like, oh no, you got to be out at night, and now they're all out at night, and you're like, no, I don't want to go out at night. And there are some that'll like raise an alarm, and then it'll invoke this chase mode, and like not just one zombie, but they all are like coming for you.
Scary.
Yeah, it's way scary. And any given couple of zombies can pretty well take you down. Like it is not something where you're just cutting through guys. No guns. Guns have been obsoleted. Nobody has ammunition.
There was guns in Dying Light 1 though. Like they came in.
This is progressed. This is past. No. This is like full on melee. Maybe there's a point where you can find some firearms.
Well, that's what there was in Dying Light 1. I remember when they gave me guns at some point, and I was like, "Oh, this is turned into like a weird shooter." That wasn't
so this is all past that. So in fact, the aesthetic for this is like nature's reclaiming. So it's got like kind of a Last of Us kind of green things are growing on buildings and stuff like that. And so this has progressed the timeline. And then the other thing, the reason it's called Stay Human is that your character toward the beginning gets a zombie bite. And so when you are in the dark for too long, your virus like manifests itself. So you have to kind of get this inhibitor thing to be able to last longer in the darkness. And, so there's that, which is honestly a little bit annoying. Like it's kind of a bummer when you're like, oh my gosh.
Sounds like the Far Cry 2,
the malaria. Yeah, exactly. Like it's something like that, except they give you a timer so you sort of know. But that's the thing is, so your character, who's voiced, I'm pretty sure by Nolan North. I'm pretty sure he's like, no. Oh crap. He's got like that whole Nolan North thing. Very story based. Very like, are you going to side with this guy or that guy? Are you going to rat this dude out for being a crooked merchant or whatever?
So I really, when I saw this game and I was watching like gameplay and I can't remember if I watched a review or not. Like it seemed like it had taken Dying Light 1 and then changed it into this weird arcadey game that I was not interested in. It seemed like it had stripped out the things from Dying Light 1 that I really like, which was the characters, the choices, and like the dark.
No. Okay. This is very much, it's the same thing, but just better. Like
I think I watched like the IGN review and I was like, this game does not.
Maybe those guys don't know
what
what they're talking about.
Maybe they don't.
It's a lot like Dying Light 1.
Because that's what turned me off on it. Because I was like, I told you like a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I'm interested in Dying Light. When we had that conversation, like Dying Light 2 is coming out. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, the only thing, they're working through some bugs right now, like some fundamental bugs, but I think it's, whatever. Techland, they'll probably keep working on it. They'll hammer on it for a couple of years probably and just make it really awesome.
Well, good,
But
because
it's
I mean
good right
they've done that in the past. Like these are the same guys that made those Dead Island games, right? Isn't it
I
the
believe
same
so.
crew?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
I
yeah.
love, and that's the same thing. Like you felt that same type of dread in Dead Island when you had to go out, right? Because I mean, it was not, those zombies were hard, and if you got surrounded, or you'd get beat up pretty quick.
Yeah,
but,
and everything is a little bit of a puzzle. So there's a little bit of action when you're like just running frantically to get through stuff, but then sometimes you're like, whoa, wait a minute, how am I going to approach this? Can I make this jump up here, or do I have to go down in there and like sneak through piles of guys or whatever? So there's it's a thinking man's action game if you want it to be.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I don't know when I would get to this. I got too many MMOs to play apparently, but yeah, this is super on my. This is a game that would be perfect for Game Pass because then I could just try it, and see if there was a demo, like something, because
if you liked the first one, you will like.
There are so many games now, man. It's like,
I know.
Yeah, but that game came out like a decade ago. I mean, that was a pretty early PS4 game.
Yeah, they've done right by it. It's good.
Well, that's good, but I mean, I've also changed. So
yeah,
who knows, man? But I wish everything was on.
I mean, it ain't no free to play Asian gacha game, Legrand. I'm sorry, it's not your thing anymore.
Lost Ark is not a gacha game, at least not for me. The gacha mechanics, I haven't seen yet. But I'm sure they'll introduce them to me at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there you go. Dying Light 2, Stay Human. It's good. It's on PC and on console, and I've been playing it almost exclusively. In fact, exclusively on GeForce Now. Runs like a dream. It's awesome.
Wow.
Playing it on my phone, playing it on the desktop. It's awesome. It's great. Do that.
Dying battery. So speaking of dying, I've been playing Diplomacy is Not an Option, which just came out in early access on Steam, and it is a goofy little mixture of like the Stronghold games with a little economy. You got to build up a castle, build up defenses, and they are billions. Just horde mode, waves of enemies throwing themselves.
Wait
a
minute.
Yeah.
Now,
So the way you were talking about it, I thought this was going to be like a historically accurate strategy simulator.
No. So you there's research, and you build little resource buildings. You got to collect resources, build up your castle, and it's actually really cool. It's got this like goofy little like really polyagonal like art style. It's like very silly looking, but as you go on, it has like an endless mode.
This game looks
where
sweet.
You just do waves after waves. You're building like catapults and towers and putting archers on the towers and knights, and it's really cool. It's really fun so far. I'm having a good time with it.
So is it more tower defense, or is it more like
it's really? It is a They Are Billions style game with better.
They Are Billions
with better base building though. I think.
I really like They Are Billions.
Some of those like kind of.
So do you play it like an RTS? Do you like command units? Is that how it works?
You command your military units, yes.
Okay.
But none of your villagers. So the villagers, like you just place a building and the builders walk over and build it, in the order that you placed it. But you do have to manage, like you have to have houses, just like They Are Billions.
There was another game that came out recently that was like They Are Billions.
Yes,
you know what it is?
I do know what it is, and I have actually played that as well. It was called. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll tell you.
There was a Conan one at one point too, I believe.
That was Conan Unchained, I believe it was.
No, Conan Unchained is
that was more
Age
of
of
an
Conan.
RTS.
Age of Darkness. Was the other one.
That's the one. Was that one good too?
That one was good. That one is very much They Are Billions in terms of the way it plays and the map plays out, and just all of it feels.
Yes. It looks just like They Are. Is it by the same people?
I actually have no idea. But Diplomacy is Not an Option is kind of I want to say a little bit different. It leans a little bit more towards that kind of strategy side, but with that kind of wave mechanic. So, which is kind of perfect for me, because one of the things I liked least about They Are Billions and Age of Darkness was that like the bases are very like StarCrafty. You know what I mean? Like it's like the walls are all like the same, and it was just kind of weird. So this one's pretty
this game
neat.
looks really cool.
It is pretty fun. I picked it up. I was like watching for it. It was like one of the first games in quite a while that I'm like, I actually kept tabs on. I'm like, oh, I want to play this. I want to play this. And then
Looks like there's a demo too.
There is a demo, so you can go check that out.
And it's early access.
Mm-hmm.
So
it is also early access. Yes. So just be aware of that. But so far I've been playing it, for the half a week it's been out so far and having a great time. It's also on GeForce now.
Nice. I'm in.
We're good.
But yeah.
all right. Well, that being said, we'll get right into our new releases really quick, courtesy of tech-gaming.com. Dying Light 2 tops our list, coming out this week. Ollie Ollie World also. There's a game called Sifu that came out that I think a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, it's like a kung fu game or something.
Yeah.
I like it.
I put a game on here called Retro Bowl. This is a old school looking football game. It looks just like a Super Nintendo football game.
That's the
but
type I play.
I've been playing the hell out of this game. Me and my son both it's a mobile game. So I've been playing it on the phone. I guess it's coming to Nintendo Switch. But I've legit played, 5 hours of this dumb game on my phone. Like just sitting around or watching football, playing football. Like I've been doing that a lot. So anyway, Retro Bowl, it's like $3. I think it's free to play on the Switch with some, pay mechanics or whatever. I think that's all that I saw on the list. I know we had 2 weeks to go through, but I don't remember the week before. Was there anything good on the week before that we didn't talk about?
Nah, games aren't coming out.
Kingdom Hearts is coming to Switch, boys and girls.
Diplomacy is not an option.
Oh, yes.
That's what was coming out.
If you haven't played
Lost
that,
Ark.
then maybe it's time that you played that. Diplomacy is not an option, also out.
Yep.
In our rad SwitchGameTitles.com, we have Kung Fu Kickball, which I thought was cool.
That sounds actually fun.
Also, Crossfire X. This is the sequel to the Crossfire board game from the 80s that we all loved.
You'll get caught up in the
Nobody ever
Crossfire.
actually had Crossfire, but we all remember the commercials.
Heck yeah.
Crossfire X is out. Also, and I love the title for this, Pendula Swing: The Complete Journey. It's basically it's a Hobbit game. They kind of based on the Hobbit. It's there and back again. You know what I'm saying?
Is it Pendulous Wing?
No, I copied it out of the whatever. Pendulous.
I
Swing.
love that flavor of buffalo wings.
The complete journey.
Pendulous.
Pendulous Swing: The Complete
Nice.
Journey.
Let's run through some news real quick here. There was a Nintendo Direct. It actually announced a lot of interesting stuff here. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be coming out in September. Everybody plays flutes and does some anime sword fighting.
No Man's Sky on the Switch.
No Man's Sky coming to Nintendo Switch. Which is probably going to it's going to go down in flames because Starlink: The Battle for Atlas already
Nobody
exists
cares
on the
about that
Switch.
garbage game.
And you can get toys.
Nobody
toys,
wants
gentlemen.
garbage toys.
Toys.
You also don't need the toys.
You do need the toys. You need them, is what I'm saying. Mario Kart Deluxe is getting 48 new tracks with a $25 DLC. My kids are into this. I am into this. Basically, they're going to be going back and mining some of the greatest hits from old Mario Kart games from across the franchise.
They're doing something interesting with this, is that they're giving the DLC free to people who have that whack Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass.
The 64, yeah.
I think that's interesting because there was also that Animal Crossing DLC, was it, that came out that they gave for free to owners?
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's come out yet because there was going to be like the Brewster's Millions or whatever.
Something like that. But I think that's an interesting thing that they're doing is they have their core games.
I think so. And actually what I told my kids is I subscribe to the normal like pleb level Nintendo Switch Online. And even that is under protest. The thing is that if you don't re-up your $60 a year extended Nintendo subscription, I'm sure they're not going to let you keep that stuff.
Probably not.
They delete your Switch. They take away the fun.
But the thing is, though, is that
Gary Bowser will...
There's people who I don't buy DLC usually because it's usually not worth it to me. I've moved on, but
yeah,
if I just had that DLC and it was a big chunk and it was free, like, I don't know, I might go back and check it out. It's just
play it. And it's Mario Kart, like it's not going to be bad.
It might
be
never
bad. No,
so I think that's pretty crazy. So I guess
I'm going to just shell out for the 25. It's going to come out, I think, when was it?
The first, let's see,
first disbursement.
6 waves. So 8 courses come. Yeah. First of 8 come out next month, March 18th.
Yeah.
Looks like.
And that's a lot of stuff. That's just a lot of content. And my kids will still bust out Mario Kart, and they'll be like, Dad, come play. And I'll be like, yes, I'll play. So we like that. There's going to be a Fire Emblem Warriors sort of game, a Musou type game. Mario Strikers is coming back with an outer space armor version, and it's all about offense, like kicking Luigi into the like laser grid on the outside of the pitch. So that's pretty good. I'm kind of interested in this. Strikers was always pretty good. Chrono Cross is getting a remaster, the Radical Dreamers edition. Really? Good
You don't
music,
like Chrono
though.
Cross?
Good music, though.
Don't like it.
No?
Huh, a lot of people really like Chrono Cross.
I've seen a lot of people be
Not
like,
Dale.
they never thought in a million years. I know. Dale just wants to
No,
be
it's a
Dale.
bad game.
Yeah,
Huh,
all right.
weird. I liked it. I
I'm
never
sure
beat
it's
it.
amazing. But
I got
Chrono
pretty
Cross
far.
is just not good.
Yeah. They're making a new Wii Sports style game. It's going to be Nintendo Switch Sports. There's going to be like volleyball and badminton and volleyball, which volleyball and badminton are basically the same sport. So I think that's some
Pretty
baloney
much.
there. But
I don't really need this. I don't need any Switch games, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I should just sell my Switch at this point.
Really? No, I still play it. Triangle Strategy is getting a demo. You can play that now. They've extended it. If you play it, you'll get to carry
I
your...
had a demo before. Is this a
They've made a new demo, and your progress will carry over. So
This
if you
is
play
like the official
second
demo. The other one was like a
pre-release testing.
Yeah.
I think they should have changed the name though. Triangle Strategy is a
project?
stupid name.
It was.
So
it
is
Project
Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, I
right?
agree
It's
with
the
that.
Same guys, like
I agree
same
with
dudes,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. They need
I
to
think it
stop
is the same team. It's the same art style.
It looks
Yeah.
good though. Like it looks good, and I'm sure it'll be fun.
Octopath Traveler also did the same thing with their demo. Is they gave you a demo, you could play it, and then it carried over to the.
I don't know if it's on here, but
like
I
a
thought there was an
prologue.
Octopath. Yeah, I thought there was like an Octopath Traveler mid-sequel type thing, but I don't see it.
The
in here. I guess it wasn't in
freaking
this.
font of the logo, Triangle Strategy, is the same font as Octopath Traveler. It looks like
how about
exactly
that?
the same.
Isn't that the same as Bravely Default also?
No.
No, I don't
Is it?
think so.
Okay.
No. Front Mission and Front Mission 2 are getting some remakes on Switch. That's great. Splatoon 3, they showed the co-op Salmon Run mode for that, which is basically the same one from Splatoon 2, but has some gigantic Godzilla-type creatures that you can fight. Metroid Dread, in the limpest announcement that they made, Metroid Dread is getting a free update that adds a one-shot mode and then a rookie mode. But that's free, I guess. Kirby's getting a new game, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and he can suck up like giant machinery now and become like a Volkswagen and stuff. Which is kind of fun. Actually, it looked really cute, and my daughter was like, "Ee!" So that's one that's on my radar now. Also, I watched this direct with my children, and I it's kind of fun to be hype with kids. Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings.
I
are
can't
on
get
Switch.
hype about Roblox, dude. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, actually, my daughter now has moved on from Roblox. No more Roblox.
Dude, when does that happen?
Yeah, 13.
One of my kids is super
6
stoked
months.
about the Guild Wars 2 expansion coming out at the end of this month.
You are
on the
a
28th.
liar.
No, I think
he's like last week he like texts me, Papa, when does the expansion come out? 28th. Oh, it's awesome.
Oh gosh.
He loves Guild Wars. It's a good game.
Advance Wars, the 1 and 2 reboot is coming out in April.
Earthbound's on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah,
I might
yep,
go play that.
Yep, we did that. I might check it out. I have not really enjoyed an Earthbound game ever, but I know there are some good homages that are a lot better. Like Citizens of Earth is really good. I think that's probably a better game. Portal 1 and 2 coming out on Switch later this year. MLB The Show 22, they showed gameplay, and to me the coolest thing was it's cross-platform. How has this Sony's MLB The Show coming to Nintendo Switch, and you can play online cross-platform multiplayer. Crazy. Star Wars The Force Unleashed coming out on Switch. Free-to-play Disney kart game Disney Speedstorm Racing is coming on to Switch later on this year. It looks a lot like the Disney Infinity Racing, which is fine by me. That's going to be fine. Klonoa is getting stuff on Switch. Taiko no Tatsujin, that's Taiko Drum Master, coming out this year. There's a Cuphead DLC, The Delicious Last Course, Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection, Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece, and that's available now on cloud. I think Legrand mentioned that a little bit earlier. And some other stuff, just some other things. Doesn't really matter. So that's all happening. And actually, I have to say, it was probably the best Nintendo Direct I've seen in quite a while. Usually, I do not care for them, but they had a lot of cool stuff to say. Elsewhere in the news in the last couple of weeks, Sony has brought Bungie as possibly a lesser but reactive move against the Microsoft acquisition of
That's kinda
Activision
crazy.
Blizzard.
No, couldn't have been reactive. It's been too soon.
But I guess just in general, everybody's kind of circling their own little wagons.
Maybe it's reacting to Microsoft buying Bethesda.
There you go.
Yeah, from last year. So, of course, Bungie is still running the really quite popular Destiny 2. It's still very active. I saw some stats for it. I don't have them in
They had a
front
new
of me, but
expansion that came out this week. Or
hundreds
next
of
week.
thousands. Yeah, it's coming out next week, I believe. Yeah.
The Witch Queen, I think is
Mhm.
what it's called. Yeah.
Yep. And they basically also, in addition to the $3.6 billion deal for Bungie, they also spent $1.2 billion to retain Bungie people. So they want to try and maintain the integrity of that. So that is.
So here's the big question about this: is is Destiny 2 worth $3.6 billion?
No.
I don't know.
But Destiny 3 might be.
Here's the thing. There's that. But I would really like to see Myth the Fallen Lords now, please,
Yeah.
Sony. Can we?
Yeah.
That's where like at least
PS6 exclusive.
Can we
At
get
least
Marathon
the
3,
Forgotten
please? Can we get
Lords.
Marathon 3? I would really like
wow, that would be interesting.
Throwback.
It's not a marathon,
So-
it's a sprint.
Here's the other thing. Sony wants, with Bungie's help, to launch more than 10 live service games by 2026. Interesting thing about Bungie, they released a game that was not free to play, and it made a successful transition into a free to play model, and it's been doing really well. Still, honestly, speaking personally, I kind of want to play Destiny all the time. I don't
think about it all
actually
the
do
time.
Exactly. Yes, I think about Destiny all the time.
The problem with
so there's
Destiny is if
something-
I wanted to get back into Destiny, I got to buy the whole game again. Like I'm so far behind now, and the way that their pricing model is, I would have to spend $60 to play it.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly
Every
whenever
single time I
play-
look at it, I'm like, oh, $60 more, $60 to play. Like every time I've looked at it, I haven't, because I don't want to spend $60 on something I may not even want to play.
Yeah.
And if I fired it up right now, I wouldn't be able to have any fun with it, even though I haven't even exhausted the content that I had purchased. Like, it's just kind of a weird.
It is.
If you're not into Destiny, then you're not into
Right,
Destiny.
there's a whole bunch of
It's hard to
barriers.
get into Destiny.
Yeah, it's hard to get
there's a
back.
big
I mean,
barrier.
even get back into it. Like I played I rated in Destiny 2 and Destiny 1, and I had the first expansion packs, and I was all about it, and then fell off it for whatever reason. Probably an MMO, but it's weird. Like Destiny's like that weird game that I look at, I'm like, this looks really cool, but if I got back into it, like how and where and what, and I
and every time I try and play it, I don't even know what they want me to do. Like my quest markers are just really difficult to discern.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of a
It is kinda
weird.
weird.
If you're not into it, you're not into it, and I don't know how they get me to get into it again. You know?
Yeah. Well, Sony at least thinks it's worth.
Maybe if it was proper free to play, or if it was. I know they have that weird thing where they're like removing content and re-adding content,
the
or
vault.
like I don't even know what
That
that
is
even
weird.
means, and it's just kind of confusing for someone like me who hasn't been following it. Doesn't really,
They have been doing a pretty good job. I mean, nobody was doing the week to week, month to month updates like Fortnite, and I think they're still doing it. And we've just stopped really caring. But I would say that Bungie did a really good job doing like middle term updates and seasons and things like that. And I think they kept interest in churning things. Even the idea of taking things out is still part of like, hey, stuff is happening and things are being updated, and they kind of focus on the new stuff they want to come out. So I think they've at least got a model that has been working for them.
if I got in today and said I'm gonna go play the Witch Queen, like what would I do? Like if I bought the Witch Queen, which I presume would come with everything, like how
There
would
would
I
be
even...
an opening cutscene. You would go talk to somebody. They'd give you a quest, and you'd go do it. And you'd punch some dudes. Their faces would explode, and you'd be like, "Hey, this is really fun."
And now one guy be like,
Yeah,
I need
probably.
you to kill the Witch Queen.
The Witch Guardian, the Witch Queen is
Exactly.
now the greatest threat to the solar system. Take your
must
ghost.
defeat the Witch Queen. Then there'll be a smash cut to a Witch Queen cutscene, which is like,
Yeah.
"Yo, we are the greatest
Start
threat. We are going to
punching.
take over the galaxy.
The
And here's how we're going to do it."
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, but Sony's
Destiny's
also,
a really good game. Like it plays extremely well. Like it's a quality.
nothing else is
shooter,
quite
for
like
sure.
it. Nothing else
No.
is quite like
Except
it.
Halo. Halo's kind of like it.
Halo's bad compared to Destiny, though.
I-
Sorry, Halo.
I think the story of Halo is better. I think the Destiny gameplay is probably better.
You know what? I will say I've not bought any Halo Grimoire books. I've got 3 Destiny Grimoire books. I'm into the lore now.
That is the most Jeremy thing you've said
is.
this podcast.
Yeah. Sony also plans to use Bungie to try and launch up to 10 live service games by 2026. So because of their expertise that we have now thoroughly investigated, that is something that Sony wants. And that's, you guys have just been talking about Lost Ark, and that's kind of what's popular. I mean, that's really that star is still rising, and it won't stop. And it can't stop.
There's only so many people around. There's only so many live service. You can't play more than one, right? Like if you're invested in one of those types of games, you're kind of playing one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like if I'm playing Destiny 2,
you can maybe have a Coke and a Pepsi, but you know
can't have a Sprite.
You can't have.
You can't have Pepsi Crystal or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's coming back.
I don't know. I'm playing Star Wars MMO and Lost Ark and Final Fantasy 14.
Before tomorrow.
I love that. Yeah, I remember those ads. Speaking of other games that are sort of democratizing out into the world, Blizzard has said that Warcraft is coming to mobile devices in some form or fashion. We don't really know exactly what that's going to be. That was in their quarterly earnings news release. I'm sort of hoping that they just release an RTS, but they won't do that. It's probably going to be it's going to be a match
Warcraft
3
Adventures, Thralls, whatever.
Oh man, could you imagine?
Circle?
They could bring that back anytime. They could do it just to show that they can. So they're doing some other things. Diablo Immortal is still.
I don't know what
out.
I want out of that. Like I mean, I play Retro Bowl and
just like
Sudoku on
RTS.
my phone.
Just like Warcraft.
RTSs aren't good on phones, man.
What? They're perfectly suited for phones.
They are not. They're terrible.
You could like swipe and pinch and tap on these guys and send them off to do the thing.
No, I need a bigger screen to play RTS.
Northgard on my phone, and it works pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Legrand, you're outvoted.
I disagree wholeheartedly. But I don't know what this is going to be. It's not going to be WoW, and it's not going to be Warcraft 4. Like,
no,
I don't know. I don't know what they would do. I don't know. I mean, we'll see, I guess, and maybe great minds at Activision, Blizzard, now infused with dollars will make something cool. Who knows?
Well, here's the great idea that they've got now. They're basically going to take the Horde and Alliance people, and they can go into raids together. That's going to make Warcraft great again.
I think that might be out, or at least coming out with the next patch, I believe.
It's possible.
I don't know how I feel about this very much at all. I put this on here because I think the core to World of Warcraft is Horde versus Alliance, even though every expansion has Horde and Alliance teaming up together to fight the big baddies, which I guess is what this is. But it still seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to do what they can to like mix it up for Warcraft. And this.
Well, the word on the street is, I mean, the rumor around is like, yo, World of Warcraft is hemorrhaging players because World of Warcraft is kind of bad right now and has been for a long time. And this is their latest attempt to try to get people to stay playing. I don't know.
Yeah.
By increasing the pool of players that you can queue into dungeons with.
You know what? I'm starting to think that maybe it's finally time for me to get into World of Warcraft. I think
you should.
The moment is right.
Play it on your phone.
Now that you can play Horde and play with your Alliance friends, you'll be
all of them.
Good. You can relive that female orc fantasy you've always had.
Oh yes. Oh yes, please. Other than that, a couple little things floating around the internet. I think we did talk about this before, but just to remind you, Nintendo is actually not a benevolent company. They have crushed the fan favorite game music YouTube channel, Gilva Sunner, by basically giving copyright strikes on like 1,000 of the dude's videos. So yeah, you cannot listen to.
I hope the process of like putting together a copyright like charge against a video is some arduous process. It's probably not, but like who had to sit there for like 1,000 of these songs?
I don't know.
Like, man, no.
Wario did it. It was Wario.
Yeah.
It was Doug Wario. Yeah. Speaking of which, it's not on here, but Doug Bowser sentenced to like 5 years in federal prison. So Nintendo actually released a press release about this. Yeah, that Doug Bowser guy, that hacker guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Sorry, wait, it's not Doug Bowser.
Doug Bowser's the president of Nintendo America.
Who's the other Bowser? James Bowser?
Gabriel Bowser.
The Bowser guy that was like the wrong guy, right?
Yes, that guy. What is that dude's name?
Bowser. I'm going to search
George Bowser.
Nintendo hacker ROM guy.
Just give me his name. I just need the name.
Gary Bowser.
Okay, sorry, Doug Bowser, but you should probably go to federal pounding.
He was selling circumvention devices enabling users to play illegal ROMs on consoles.
Yeah, although I did hear that he also did some sort of like ransomware on people's Switches too, so maybe he kind of deserved it.
Maybe they were like mining Bitcoin for him. That would have been cool.
Maybe on the Switch. And then Discord has started rolling out some PlayStation integration. That's pretty all right. I guess we'll see if any. Is anybody planning on doing this? I don't know
if I was playing with friends on the PlayStation, or if things were cross-play, like it makes sense. Like this, nobody, and by nobody I mean everybody asks for like in-game voice chat in like every game. Like World of Warcraft, they added in-game voice, and I don't know a single person who has ever used. Like everyone uses Discord. So, and while the PlayStation Network thing is fine, I think as more and more cross-platform games come out, and Discord is the place to go to gaming community. Like we have our own Discord channel.
Yep.
Like every community has one. So the fact that I could be on my PlayStation and be voice chatting on Discord in my own community, I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time that this happened, quite honestly. It should be everywhere.
In-game,
or at least something.
In-game voice chat and motion blur. Those are two things I disable immediately in almost every game.
Yeah, same here.
I used to play Heroes of the Storm with my brother, and we would purposely like join the in-game voice chat and then tell everyone on our team to join and see we would get in there, and then we would just like be like complete crazy people. Like it was awesome. We used to do that all the time. But
nice. Nobody
uses it for real, you know.
Well, speaking of being complete crazy people, this very short episode that we were trying to do is not done yet because we got to do the new speed run. Start some music, hurry!
Pew, 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 pew. Madden predicts a nail-biting Bengals win in the Super Bowl.
How did that end up? It was a nail-biting. They lost. They could have won if they would have won. Like it was close at the end. It was close. Really? They had a chance. And it could have been nail-biting. But it wasn't.
GTA 6 is in active development. Rockstar has confirmed. Of course it is.
Nintendo Switch has outsold the Wii, which is pretty big news. Nintendo's previously best-selling console. And I feel like the Wii's sellout actually probably got a lot more airtime across the news media. Like, oh, when will it stop selling? And I think the Switch has just sort of maintained a good clip the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Battlefield 2042 refund campaign reaches 70,000 signatures.
And which they're not going to get any
weird,
of that
I guess. I don't understand what they're petitioning. Like, your game sucks. We've played it for 200 hours and we want our money back. Like,
yep.
F off, I guess, is my response to that. Sorry.
Tim Sweeney says the Epic won't support Fortnite on the Steam Deck.
That's too bad.
Until they realize they can make money.
No, it's likely because the Steam Deck is on Linux, and Linux is very hackable by nature. You know, I would imagine that they don't want hackers in Fortnite.
Well, Square Enix says that Final Fantasy XIV is a huge reason behind their financial success in 2021.
I spent a lot of money in Final Fantasy XIV last year. Not going to
lie. Star Citizen is reworking its roadmap to avoid distractions caused by unhappy players. I actually do not know exactly what that means, but it sounds significant.
This sounds like my prediction coming true in about 6 months.
It makes it sound like they actually are making progress. No.
Cool, man.
Like, we're still relevant, guys.
They're trying to head off the class action lawsuit.
Yeah, right. Trying to avoid distractions. That means they're running to somewhere with all their money and hiding out in an island. They're converting all their funds to Bitcoin. They're buying an island and they're moving to it. That's what they're doing. Google Stadia may become Google Stream and deprioritize games. I guess they want to sell their technology to other studios, which I think is what the plan always was.
Yeah, they had announced that a while ago. I felt like
that was like a thing from the beginning, I thought. But Google Stadia,
just figured out that nobody's using their service.
Yeah, it's funny because when I got my Stadia, when it came out or whatever, I subscribed to the Google Stadia subreddit, and I'm still subscribed to it for whatever reason. So every once in a while, a post will pop up of somebody who's like all about Stadia.
Can I buy Bitcoin with this?
And it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Yeah, can you buy Bitcoin with your Stadia servers? That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty great. Shovel Knight developers, that is Yacht Club Games, they're making a new game that is a mashup of Link's Awakening and Castlevania, which sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
I'm glad that they're finally moving on, from Shovel Knight. I think that it's
time.
They should have had a second game out 5 years ago.
I don't understand why they went for another Shovel Knight game. That is like a phone game that's not on phones.
That puzzle game that's not available on mobile.
But also original Halo composers are seeking an injunction for unpaid royalties, and this may delay the Halo TV show.
I feel like Marty O'Donnell is. It hasn't been going well for him. I guess let me put it that way. Maybe they should rethink that.
Well, the Uncharted director will make a Jack and Dak movie next year. Wait, Jack and Dak? Next year? Jack and Daxter. What? It's weird. I was just thinking
Dale.exe has stopped working.
About
Robodale, engage.
like all those
Jack
all
and
those stupid,
Jack movie Nexter.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Uncharted. By the way, Sly Raccoonus or whatever. That's a game also.
Sly Raccoonists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uncharted director.
I'm
At
all
first,
about
I was
it,
like
dude.
director of the Uncharted game. I was like trying to remember who that would be. And then I was
Nobody
like,
knows.
Oh, no, this
Nobody
is a
even knows who
movie
the
thing.
director ended. They went through like 12 guys. Nobody knows who directed it. Alan Smithy.
Neil, what's his face?
I've got a report on the Uncharted movie. By the way, my son looked at me the other day and he's like, "Dad, we saw the trailer came on TV or whatever," and he was like, "Dad, I don't think that movie's going to be very good." And he's like the biggest Uncharted fan I know. And I'm like, son, we're still going to go see it in the theaters. You and I don't care. We're going to go watch it. And
You're gonna rub your face right in it until you understand what video game movies are like.
That's right. You need to know. You need to know what we went through. Rounding this out with like the most boring news ever. Sony has created a Gran Turismo driving AI that outperforms top racers.
Yeah, it basically just follows a straight line all the way through, and
like knows when to slow down. Like, yeah.
No, actually, I think it's got like some adaptive deep learning or something like that. Like, I think for my purposes, though.
Oh, they made their own
Gran Turismo-
drivatars. I get it.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm just gonna bank off them on the inside of the turns anyway. So hopefully they're really good at that because that's what I'm gonna do. And folks, that is going to do it for your Game Bytes Show podcast and for the speedrun news and everything we've got for you this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any comments, any thoughts about any of the stuff that we've talked about, any news, any games that you've been playing, if you're into that Lost Ark, whatever, if you're flagellating people out in the ocean, maybe you're doing that stuff. I don't know. Tell us all about that. You can find us on social media. We are on Twitter.
Weird.
Collectively, we are at the.
Okay.
Who knows what people are doing while they're listening to this? I don't know, and I don't want to think about it. But you can find us on social media, Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also reach out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
I'm at Legrand on Twitter.
I'm at Count Elmdor.
I'm at red_I.
You can find Chernathog at Chernathog or whatever. I don't know.
At Chernobog,
Chern-
Apocalypse.
Dude, who owns Chernobog Twitter handle? I need it.
Oh, man, we got to get it. You can also find us over at GameBytesShow.com. Actually, before you do that, find us at Game Bytes Show, YouTube.com/Game Bytes Show. Come watch us live as this thing happens. You watch it just devolve. You can see it. You can see it happen right.
You can see the pain in our eyes.
You can watch it as the color drains from all of this. You can also visit us at GameBytesShow.com. Find there a back catalog to all of our podcasts. Everything that's syndicated is over there. You can also find a link to our Discord server. Come join us there. Make some, I don't know, make some characters in Lost Ark. I don't know. Everyone's the décolletage is overflowing.
You come check out Discord and you can see my keyboard with its dwarven keycaps.
You can do that. Get a little sneak peek into our lives. My children have recently started playing the Frontier. What's the roller coaster game? I've been trying to get them to make their own version of the Jeremy Supreme
World of
Frontier roller coaster game.
What's what was that called? Planet Coaster.
Planet
Coaster.
That's the one. Yeah. So we're doing some of that. Anyhow, come hang out with us. We want you. We want you there.
Do you think there's a Planet Coaster in Elite Dangerous somewhere?
That's the Planet Coaster cinematic universe. That's what you don't know.
That's what's at the center of the galaxy.
I'm gonna find it in that galaxy.
It's actually Elite Dangerous is the Toy Story VR ride of the Planet Coaster universe, and technically you're going to step out of there right onto the Jeremy.
Is there a way to make like roller coasters in No Man's Sky? Because you could super make a Planet Coaster, right?
Man,
like mine carts or something.
I don't know.
Because you can name planets in No Man's Sky, right?
Well, all of these questions and more will be answered on the next Game Bytes Show podcast, which is coming at you just a week from now. But until then,
I'm gonna follow up with this question. Don't tempt me with that.
Be the change you want to see in the world, Legrand.
Do that. The man in the mirror, just like the scholar Michael Jackson.
Is a lot like a Martin Scorsese protagonist or whatever, in that like it starts off all fancy free, and then by the end it's just like a total mess.
Just like beaten.
Like,
did you not hear him, Dale? Jeremy said these questions and more, including what you just said, will be talked about next week.
We're gonna do it. Try us and see if this doesn't happen. Until then, this has been your Game Bytes Show podcast. Thank you
around.
so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Be seeing you.
Goodbye.